Well, hey everybody, Whittler Dave here. Well, check him out. There's the large outside gnome. He is finished. Getting ready to take him out in the yard and mount him on a special stick that I have that's made in the yard that I put. There's the star. I really like him. I'll tell you what I like about the best is his little feet. I like his feet. His hands are tucked into his pocket. Everything is hand carved, custom painted. You know, just quite a bit of little work on it. But there it is. I think it's totally neat. Well, good morning. I hope everybody likes the gnome like I do. Let's scoot you over here. Yeah, he's about 3 foot tall. He's past the 2 foot mark. You know, I've already just been thinking today, maybe, you know, I will build these, but you have to realize the way shipping is. You know, anything past 24 inches is quite expensive. But maybe I'll design some that's 23 inches. I don't know yet. I like the design that I made. I've got another idea in the old Google brain. You know me, my brain never shuts off. That's the problem and anything. But I thought I just wanted to share it with you all. Something that I really enjoyed and designed, and anybody can design one. Gnomes are so simple to draw. Just get out and get you a piece of paper, or just draw it on a piece of wood. Shoot, get you a piece of tag board, just draw. Don't worry, because gnomes are not right, no wrong. They're not perfect. Don't try to carve them perfect. That gives them character. If one side's a little slouchy, like, look, I said slouchy. I got a bad back. You know, I'm sorry, folks. But anywho, I just wanted to share it with you all. Let's get you there. I'm still working on that angel. Been, you know, like we did the other day. This is just not going to be a very long video. No, just kind of working on that angel. Look at her dress. See how it flutes? See how it waves? Yes. We're working on the wings right now, but see how her dress, there's movement, there's life here. See the bottom? How it's like the folds in it? There's life. And then see, we're working on that fold right there. And then we're working on this one. See how her dress just kind of tapers that way? She's moving. You got to think like the wind, you know? Now, how's the wind going to blow? That's the thing. Like I said, I'm just messing with the wings. That's all I'm doing. Got to set up for Burger King today. That's tomorrow, you know. I'm going to tell you what. Can you imagine it's almost 4th of July? What happened to this month? And the unfortunate thing is I'm not a winter person at all. You know, I spent years and years of working in winter. I grew up in snow and, you know, having arthritis and stuff. Me and winter just don't get along great. You know, I prefer the heat with my coffee. Yes, I do. Matter of fact, hang on, folks. Yeah, I will always be a coffee drinker. Anybody want to come and visit me, bring me some coffee. So, just black, no foo-foo. That's how I drink it. I drink true man's coffee. Cowboy coffee. Java. I've heard it called everything. But anywho, yeah, this months are just, before you know it's going to be August. You know, and I don't want that. I like to live in a place year-round in heat. You know, a place that you're appreciated, and, you know, I could just go around and do what I do, and well, what I love to do, just sit and whittle. You know, I love it here, but it's just like any place. There is a few problems. I guess being an artist all my life, I've just really, I have worked in so many towns and I've been in so many cities, and it seems like it starts out great and then it just dies. And it just seems like some places I've been and stuff just doesn't appreciate what true handmade stuff is. And maybe I'm just old. Maybe that's the problem. And I am old. I come from a day where, respect. You see a lady walk up to the door, you open it. You don't want nothing out of it. You just, yes ma'am, just a minute, I'll get that for you. That's how old I am. Just respect. I am. I'd like to, I always said if I didn't, you heard me say this over and over, I just was young enough and had the money and create a true artist town. Where everybody lived in harmony. Everybody ran the town. That would just be awesome. In harmony, and we would have one central garden and grow our food and, just live in peace. The only thing we really would be tagged to is taxes. Everything else we make and provide. We even provide our own electricity. We could, have our own septics and stuff like that. That's the town I wish I could created years ago. Just, a peaceful town. And like I said, the only thing you'd be strapped to is taxes. Other than that, you wouldn't be strapped to nothing. Just nature and what has been provided for you. And people building and designing and, and people could come in and buy truly handmade stuff. Right there, meet the artist. If you want to learn, you sit down. That's how you learn. I have a good friend named Quilting Granny, and just a phenomenal. She makes quilts and stuff, and she teaches so many young people, and some of them carry it on. We've worked together when we did a show here in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I'm not going to mention the show, but we worked together, and she's become a very good friend of mine, and her name is Quilting Granny. If you want to learn sewing and stuff, she knows a lot. But she comes from the day where you had to know a lot because you had to create and make to survive. That's my day. That's the way I like. You want to survive? Learn to make it. Yes, but that's a dream. I mean, I don't think I'm 60. I'll be 62 years old this year. Like I said, I guess we all could have dreams, right? A peaceful place to be, just to live in harmony. That's with everybody. That would be wonderful. But anywho, we're just working on the angel. Still got a lot to work in the wings, and I did flute her dress right here because it was too thick, too heavy. And so I've taken some out. I'm not going to get really seriously, on the back because there's no sense. I love that original nail hole. This is over 100-year-old barn wood. And there's one right there where they had drove a nail in this old beam. Well, it's going to stay. That's character. That's history. Like I tell people, a barn was built for a reason. The farmer needed a barn. So he didn't go to Lowe's or nothing like that, folks. This little story's for the younger people. He didn't go to Lowe's because it wasn't a Lowe's. His Lowe's was his lay of his land. It was what, God gave him, his trees and everything like that. So he'd go out there and he'd get him a couple horses or a wagon or whatever. And, he had an axe. Didn't have a chainsaw, and he would lay those logs down. And then he would hand split them and everything and get them all split up. And then he had sometimes they would use a two-man saw to rip the wood. Or if he had a little bit of money or knew somebody, they had an old sawmill, and they would rip the wood that way. Most of the time, it was all done by hand, and then they would hand hew the log and everything and get it all cleaned up. And yes, I have hewed logs before. Back when I was younger, we built an original cabin, a bunch of us. And I had a hewing adze at one time, and it was a big one. And I had a broad axe, and we would split the logs, and we hand hewed them all. That way the cabin was original. It's probably not even there now because a mine come in and bought all the land. So unfortunately, it's gone. But anywho, that's how things were done back then. So this right here was processed and put in a barn for a reason. Maybe he needed a hay barn, a livestock barn. Or maybe he just needed a barn because he needed a barn. Or a place to put his wagon, his tractor. You know, just a barn. A workshop maybe. It was a big barn when I took it down. It was a very large barn. Drove over 100 miles to get to the barn. So, and I still got different things that I've saved and stuff out of it. Different metal pieces, an old metal chair. I got that. Stuff that I grew up with. But anyway, I seen several of them, and I knew right then, you know, what it was. And, you know, and then the other thing people always ask me, they go, well, I thought barns were all built out of oak and hickory and chestnut and maybe some walnut. And like I tell them, I just told you the story. The man used what he had on his land. So here in Tennessee, we have a lot of cedar. And we have poplar and we have hickory and oak. But so he used what he had on his land. He didn't worry about it. He just went out there and cut some trees, and fortunately, these were beams. I still got some chunks left over. So that's how I get these. I rip them down on my, you know, I do a resaw on my bandsaw. And that's how I got this cedar. And I got one beam up there is solid hickory. And I'm going to tell you what, I don't think you could drive a nail in it. Like I said, it's over 100 years old. I don't think you could drive a nail in it at all. And I talked to the family that owned the barn, and that's predated the barn had stood for 100 years. I had talked to the lady that was still alive, that was having everything cleaned up. She was moving and selling the property, and her husband had passed away, and that's why she was selling the property. And it was in the family, but there was no other one. You know, the farm was closed down years ago. She was just living there. So, but I was lucky enough to get all this. And I've had it, and when I do angels like this, or my people, what's nice about cedar is you don't have to worry about finishing it. It already is finished. It's just, you know, like this finished piece here. You've seen this before. There's cedar right there. And this is God-given cedar. Look at the white. I wish I could find all the white in it. But that's all finished. It's all hand carved. Don't mind the dust. But that's all finished. Just, ain't it beautiful? There's so much beauty in this. You don't have to put faces and hands. This is beauty right here. This is folk art. Something I have done all my life. I love folk art. It's signed and it's just beautiful. Just like this angel. It's folk art. But anyway, like I said, I've got several pieces of this left, and I've been drawing, and I draw this angel out. And so I've got to make a stand. And it'll be made out of cedar, but I will change the look because I want it to not be the focal point. I want it to be, you know, non-focal. So I'll do something to it, because she's the focal. This angel is the focal right here. It's what I want you to look at. It's what I want when you walk into the room, and when somebody buys this, I want them to say, wow, where did you get that at? I want them to see the angel. The love that I have put into it. Yep. That's what I want to see. Anyway, we're just gonna get ready to set up for Burger King and do that tomorrow. And I usually try to shut down on Sundays. I do. Not as young as I used to be, folks. Golly, when I was a young kid, I would go 16, 17, 20 hours a day and never missed a beat. But wore my body out. The old body can't do that anymore. Awesome. I tell all the young kids that strength is not having big arms and lifting weights and being all that stuff. You know what your strength is? It's what God gave you, is your brain. That's the strongest part of your body, is your brain. Learn to use that. Don't use your back and legs like I did for all my life. And you're going to be a much healthier individual as you get older. Trust me, I can contest to that one. Yes, I can. Gotta get rid of all these flat spots. You know, all this here is flat, so I'm tapering all this. I apologize that I have to move it so much. And I mean, I don't have a production team, folks. I just don't. I try to have fun and show you my love. Remember, the biggest thing I want to tell people, there's no right and no wrong. I want to say that constantly. As long as you're out there having fun, and if you love it, people like me and other artists love it too. And that's the thing. I see people send me pictures, and I do. I love every one of them because you're trying. I'm still trying. I'm not a professional carver. I'll never consider myself. I'm just a person that loves to build and make and design. It's like that gnome there. Okay, I wanted a new gnome for my yard. So I got me a piece of paper, drawed it out. There it is. You know, very simple. Just drawed it out and figured out some things that ain't gonna work. And okay, how can I fix this to make it work? Well, I figured it out. Yes, it's just like this angel. I don't know. I never carved this style. I've carved one similar, but okay. If I do this one again, well, it's gonna be different because I am no machine. My hands have no cords hooked to them. Nothing. I do a rough cutout, and that's about as close as I get to a machine on this. And sometimes I don't even cut it out. I just use the hatchet. I can't use the hatchet on this one, but like my big gnomes and stuff, well that is cut out with probably 90% with a hatchet. I can shape with a hatchet. Yes. Yeah. Alrighty. She's getting it. Gotta get rid of all these flat points and stuff like that. Make sure you touch the whole carving with the knife. Don't leave something. Yeah. Love her dress. I said, look at these photos. It just flows. It's just like the wind. See how it flows? Just Like she's standing there and the wind's caught her dress this way. It's coming down. So she flares up here, and then she ripples up, and she comes back down here, and the wind catches it again, and she comes up, and she comes back down, and she flares right here. That to me is it. It is. Like I said, I'm not taking too much out of the back, but I got to take some, because in my eye, if this moves, well, that's going to move. You just can't leave it flat on the back, because that's not logical. So I had to put a little love back here just to make it more logically correct. And the palm chisels I got, I've been asked, well, folks, they are so old. There's no names left on it, nowhere. And you can Google, you've seen them. You're going to find one similar. Are they the same quality? I don't know. Because, I've had mine for years and years. And I don't know. My wife would love to have a set. But I only found one set that I thought years and years ago when my friend Larry Miller was alive. My best friend, my World War II buddy. And when he passed, his tools went to his sons. So, and I hope they're just not sitting in the closet. I wish they'd contact me and say, would you like to have his tools? And his, I drawed so much, and Lord, yes, I'd put them right back, because that's what's sad is, people like me that are hand makers, well, our tools mean a lot to us. We take care of them. We love them. We understand them. They become like a best friend to us. I got certain knives I only use constantly, and those palm chisels have been with me. They go with me every time I go out. They're always with me. They're in the bag, ready to rock. So you find tools that really fit you, and you just stick with them. And they do. So I don't know. I may try to look around. I've been asked. They all say if we knew what they were going to turn out with, we would have bought 10 packs of them. Yeah, that's probably true. And I couldn't tell you what I gave for them. I've had them for so long. Every once in a while, I got to look for them, because my wife will put them in her bag. Like, where's my chisel? She goes, oh, I got them in my bag. She tries to take them. I don't know. Yeah. Well, let's don't stretch this out too long, because I need to get things set up, and just wanted to show you the Gnome. That was the main thing I wanted to show, and show you guys it is done. Whew. But like I said, love the angel. I love how the dress is flowing and everything. She's getting there. She's probably, it's me. It's here. First, I got to tell my brain to stop looking at it. I already seen the problem right here since I've turned it. Like I said, get your carvings in different lights. Take them outside. Take them in your house if you use a shop like me, and set them at your dinner table, and just let it talk to you. Put it in different light, because your eyes are so used to here or wherever you're carving at, and if you put it in somewhere else, it's like, whoo, looky there. I missed something. And I just noticed, as soon as I brought it down, I noticed something. So I'll fix it. This is your computer right here. It comes from your brain to your heart. That's your love. That's your soul right here, your love. I love woodworking. I love sharing it. And I love you guys too. Ones that follow me, and you become family. You become friends. And I appreciate everybody that follows me and sends me different things and pictures. You don't bother me. Lord have mercy. I'm a little slow because I don't spell very good. And remember, I'm gonna warn everybody, if I text you something that don't read right, well, you mean you have to kind of read between the lines with me, because my spelling's not the greatest. I have to voice text unless I have Brian or my wife. And then they can do all that little doodaddy stuff. I'm this. I am a builder. That's all I am. That's all I'm ever going to be. I have knowledge in building, never been trained. I can just build. That's me. But anywho, appreciate, love everyone. DavePoston@gmail.com. Send me your pictures. Like, share, and subscribe. Push that notification button. That'll let you know when I put out another video. Share my videos with your friends. Just everything. You come to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, type in Whittler Dave on Google Maps. They'll give you all the information how to get to my home. Come and see me. Like I said, you want to bring the old man some coffee? I'll deeply appreciate that. And anything, you know. But anywho, you all have a blessed one. I know I will. And Whittler Dave will just talk to you later. And I thank you.